Donald Trump narrowly escaping an assassination attempt while delivering a speech at a rally in Pennsylvania when several gunshots were fired at him. The incident had occurred when Trump was showing off a chart of the border crossing numbers when the apparent shots began just after 6:10 p.m. As Trump was talking, a popping sound was heard and the former president put up his right hand to his ears. The shots you can see right there on your screens. Chaos, pandemonium in the stands behind him as people appeared to be shocked. As the first pop rang out, Trump had grabbed his ear and then he had crouched down. You can see those visuals right there on your screen. Donald Trump, of course, being the former president of the United States of America, was surrounded by U.S. Secret Service agents, and it took 2 minutes from the moment of the very first shot for Donald Trump to be safely evacuated into a waiting SUV. But in the meantime, what had transpired? Someone could be heard saying, get down, as agents had tackled the former president, surrounded him, formed a human shield around him in order to protect him. Of course, the crowd over there they were screaming and they were confused as to what exactly was taking place. Several eyewitnesses have also spoken out with regards to this matter. Some of the eyewitnesses have stated that they've heard, in fact, some cracks taking place as well. Let's in fact listen in to one of these eyewitnesses who has come out and spoken with regards to what was the ordeal that she faced at that point.
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There was lots of blood, and he had brain matter there. Oh, and no. So I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. So I got people there really helpful. I got him up on a bench. Shot that you saw? Then I did CPR, did chest compressions, as well as I breathed for him.
All right, there, of course, viewers, you've heard one of the eyewitnesses speak out. Joining us on the broadcast this morning is Mr. Sumit Peer, a political commentator who is with us on the broadcast. Also with us is Mr. Surinder Singh Lali, international affairs expert. I'd like to thank our guests for taking our time, sitting with us today, of course, discussing what has transpired in the United States of America. Mr. Sumit Peer, I'd like to come across to you first. We know that US suffers from a spate of gun violence. We've seen a spate of these incidents taking place, but now Donald Trump has been attacked at a rally in broad daylight. Thousands of people around him waiting, watching, listening to him, and these gunshots were fired. What do you make of the security lapse that has taken place?
Ma'am, thank you very much for having me on your show. And then what they did ultimately do when nothing worked, they tried to possibly take the life out of him. He missed the bullet by a millimeter. It pierced through his right ear and it didn't hit the head. How much is the difference between the right ear and the head? It's 1 or 2 millimeters. And they were around, people are saying around 5 to 20 bullets fired. It cannot be a sniper shot. And what we come to know, there's a 20-year-old boy, sorry, as a man, I'm just sarcastically using a boy, who from a distance with a sniper rifle could take the shots which passed from President here and here. Unfortunately, one person who was there in the crowd lost his life and a couple of them are injured. You know, when I looked at the video, there are around 15 to 20 shots fired, which cannot be done from a sniper rifle. The challenge here is that how did such a major security lapse happen? And then they say that the shooter was neutralized. If the shooter was neutralized, that means he was in their shooting range. When the people saw the shooter with a rifle on a rooftop, why didn't they neutralize him? Why did they neutralize him after that? And now President Joe Biden is saying, oh, this kind of violence is not accepted in the US. It's not the case. The challenge is here, the call should have gone to Trump before the shootout. When Trump survived the shootout, then you are calling or saying, oh, this kind of violence is not acceptable and all. What was the Biden administration doing? Because you wanted the most powerful candidate from the Republican camp to be taken out. You didn't want the President Trump, former President Trump, to contest the elections. That is what the things look to be. And do you think the shooter was working alone? Do you think there was no intel around it? There was nothing around it. And we have seen from the movies, and we know in the real life, when there's such a long shot taken, there's also a navigator who tells the shooter what is the velocity of the wind, what is the speed of the wind, where he has to align, how much right, how much left. So snappers don't work in isolation. So how such a big breach could happen? Today, if Trump is allowed, it's only the will of God he's alive. Otherwise, they literally got Trump. But so something in his luck, he was not destined to go, he was saved. It's a major security breach. When the world leaders, including Prime Minister Modi, have expressed their concern, that is the most appropriate thing to do. If this is what can happen to a former president, for God save the normal people on the roads. And in a country where it is easier to buy a gun than a potato, I think guns are more widely available than if you have to still go out and buy a kg of potatoes. This is a natural outcome. And now they're saying this 20-year-old man, he didn't like Republicans, he didn't like Trump. So there are a lot of people who don't like a lot of political leaders. Does that mean they go and shoot him? Where did he get the training? This kind of a shooting needs 100% precise training for months and years. Where did he get this training? Where did he do the target practice? It is not a handgun shot which was shot from 10 meters, 5 meters, where you can say somebody got a handgun and shot it. It is a precise sniper shot, and he got one bullet from his right ear. It is not something which amateurs do. So who are the people behind it? Look, Trump has been very against the immigrants. Trump is talking of a Muslim ban. Trump talked that if he comes to power, this Russian-Ukrainian conflict would stop. Trump said that if he was in the power, 7th October would have never happened. There are a lot of things which Trump said would have not happened and he would stop. And war is a good business for a lot of people. And with all these things happening and Joe Biden literally missing his talk all the time, and he's calling Zelensky Putin, and he forgets the name of his vice president. Then he said some very funny things to the NATO chief. I don't want to repeat them on the national broadcast. Everybody knows what did he say. So when all these things are happening, when Trump is emerging as the, as a de facto powerful candidate, and there's a bill in the US Supreme Court, and there's a bill which has been passed by the US Senate, but they're still getting blocked between Senate and Congress, wherein the immigrants are not supposed to vote and we know that immigrants were let into US because Democrats wanted immigrants to come in so that they could have their fortunes turned around. So with all these things happening, and especially after the French elections, PMM, you have to look at the statement of Donald Trump. What did he speak? He really spoke from his heart. After that, election, and the assassination attempt happening within 10-15 days. We know the American universities have turned literally rogue. We know the Hamas supporters have taken over the universities. Woke and leftists have taken over everything in America. And he said he will do the biggest ever deportation in the history of America. When all these things are said by a powerful world leader, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of powers, there are a lot of power, those echelons of power who get irked. They don't want Trump to be there. It is an attempt to let the most competent contender not to fight US elections and pay with his life and blood. That is how I see it. Now, this phone after the incident doesn't mean anything. If Joe Biden was really serious on it, he should have prevented this incident. Now, if you look at the sequence of things I told you, which have been happening in sequence, especially after his, speech where he spoke from his heart, after the French election outcome, where he said, how come 1% of the Jews are not safe in a 90% Christian country, France? How did the chief rabbi of France told Jews, leave France and go to Israel? What has happened in the world? And how is the world getting carried away by the leftists and these, Islamists getting together and, threatening the ethnic populations of the world? In universities today, there have been Jews who have been identified and named. These Jews have been there for more than 100 years. They have married Germans, they have married Spanish, they have married Irish, and how come still they are able to identify this person is a Jew or this person a Jewish roots? Who's giving the information? It's exactly PMM. When the Leicester attack happened, the Islamists knew exactly kaun sa makan number belongs to a Hindu. 42D is Hindu, 43D is not Hindu. For this shop number 1811/2 is Hindu and 11/B is not Hindu. Only specific establishments were attacked. This is a wake-up call for the world. I don't see a 20-year-old man trying to kill the President Trump. We have to see who are the people behind it. What was the intelligence doing? What was done to prevent it? Or you wanted him to take a shot. When the shot failed, then the telephone started ringing. Sorry.
Indeed, and this is something that the Secret Service has spoken about. They've held a press conference about an hour and a half back, and they've stated that they are probing all angles with regards, and particularly with regards to the motive through the lens of an assassination bid in particular.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.